Hello and welcome back to another episode of Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Yarbdemption. We're here in the camp after going through the initial tutorial section. There's still more tutorials to come, I'm sure, but in this instance we're exploring the camp and we have a little more free reign. We see just a few of these books. This is kind of neat because you can go in and there it goes, identifies a couple of animal types. You can of course read about them. And then there are some neat little side piece things like talking about a early bank robbery. It fills in cool little backstory pieces. You can also take a look over here and you can inspect. There's a picture of Hosea, Dutch, and Arthur when he was much younger. Arthur's father and Arthur's dog. This also introduces a element here that people that have played The Witcher will be very familiar with. You can tell The Witcher's influence on Rockstar here, at least in one element, the ability to shave your beard, and of course you have all these wonderful options. You can do like the mutton chops, so you can cut those all off and do, you know, just do the goatee kind of. But then you can explore all these different lengths. You just got that look, and then if you wanted to, you could do the sort of the Abraham Lincoln, or you can potentially shave it all off, which I will probably do at some point here shortly, just not here. Do it in the town, and we'll shave the head too, and then we'll watch it all grow back. Alright, so once we're in the camp, we can kind of explore around. As you can see, there's a couple of waypoints here. And of course you can greet people.
You're right about this place. It's a good spot.
You'll do for now.
For sure.
One of the other really awesome elements that they've introduced here, in addition to that conversation mode, is you can just kind of walk up to people.
What do you think of your new home?
Kieran from earlier.
Please. What do you want me to do?
Got some random lean-tos and tents. And here's Mr. Pearson, the cook from earlier. Now that we're at an actual setup location, we can donate. If we've cooked, you get food that you can donate to the crew there so that they don't starve.
I'll come back.
He also will do crafting upgrades to improve elements of the camp. This is just an example of how incredibly deep Rockstar has made this game. Like, you have all these different satchels, and ultimately the Legend of the East satchel, which, if you do all those things, can vastly improve your satchel carrying level. Arthur's lodgings can be improved with these little elements, which are so awesome. Of course, you got to go out and get those things, so that does take a little bit of doing. Then there's John Marsden. And then there's like the camp tables and chuck wagon, the main campfire, scout campfire. So those are all things that you can go do and improve. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll go into the map here. And you can see, if I go over here, I can talk to Uncle to initiate a mission. And those provisions, you can see the little provisions elements that you can go get those, like if you just need food and stuff. And this is our first real look at the map. You've got Reverend Swanson down here, Javier up here, and then of course those are the areas that we've already been in, the mountain area, and started traveling down to get to our camp. Pretty major city called Valentine to the north, and then who knows what we got over here. So that's a preliminary. Now once you're in the camp, you can do some chores. You'll see the little black dots there, and the great thing about these chores, we'll go ahead and chop some wood here, help the family out, because again, that's sort of how they're presented here. That's how Arthur views them. Chopping some wood here. What that does is it doesn't really show you any sort of like, oh, you've added 70 wood, because it's not like that. But it does help build up a skill, like one of your cores, and I think it'll probably pop something right after you do it. You only chop like 4, 5, 6 pieces of wood. And you come do that, you can do it like once a day. Honor and character attributes can be increased by partaking in chores. So now I've gotten a little more Deadeye for doing that chore. That's amazing, because Deadeye, you know, obviously those of you who've played previous Red Deads know that Deadeye is, you know, pretty essential. And you got the ladies over here.
Laundry and sewing. The exciting life of an outlaw. Yes, if they only knew how boring it really is.
And you can see here, you can focus on the individuals. Another chore here, as denoted by the little black dot on the map. And now the little red, the little yellow, excuse me, the little yellow circle with the X in it. So that I can take this over here and feed these horses. Oop, I went too far. Went too far again. It is taking a little bit getting used to the controls. I do switch sometimes between multiple consoles, so little schemes can sometimes change. But there you go. You got your their horses there. Still got a black dot over here, so let's see if this. Yep, got another bale of hay. There's the other feeding point over there, so we'll go ahead and knock that out. And as you could see, you may not have noticed it when I walked by there, but you could see Uncle sort of snoozing out up against that cart there. Place another bale of hay here. And let's go. I thought there was another black dot. And there is. There's this sack. Let's take that. Okay, so it's some maize. Let's take that over to Pearson's cart. And you can hold down the A to speed up the movement a little bit. So the chores will go a little bit faster.
Thank you, Arthur.
We got our chores to do. Got more Deadeye, so I'm about halfway to level 3 with the Deadeye. And there were 2 sacks over there, so we're going to see if I need to do both. Yep, sure enough. And I thought I saw another black dot, but it might have disappeared. So this might be the last chore we have to do for a little bit. Now, right after I drop this off, I'm gonna take you guys around the corner here to show you, for those of you who are not playing it, I'm gonna show you something over here. And this is freaking amazing. Look at this. My goodness. That view right there. Outstanding. And just to kind of give you guys a little perspective there. We'll go into the satchel here again in a minute as well, just kind of explore that. But this is with binoculars. Just look at that, you see the birds. Zoom in. You actually see the water moving in the distance. Look at that, that is just breathtaking, the detail. Look at that. That is so real and so amazing. Just take in that view for a second. Great. And there's Jack Marston.
How are you, Jack? Hear you was sick?
A little bit, but Uncle Hosea gave me some medicine.
Okay, good. Okay, well, let's talk more later.
Okay.
And as you can hear from his comments, you know, Uncle Hosea.
I just wanted to say, I'm sorry about your husband, your home.
He was worth 100 of you thieves and murderers.
I have no doubt. Okay, I'll catch you later then.
All right, Arthur.
And clearly, you know, as you can imagine, Sadie is still reeling from the events of her husband being murdered. Oh, well, hello. That's not the Bible. So clearly the Reverend has some issues. There's John.
How you feeling? Stronger for sure, but not strong enough to work. All right, well, I should be getting on. Sounds good.
I do like John sitting there reading. There's a speech early in Red Dead 1 where he's talking about Dutch teaching him to read. Ah, and speaking of Dutch, here's a speech. He's a bit of a pontificator, as we all sort of noticed in the first couple scenes. And this is sort of the trash of the camp. Got a thunderstorm there. Rumbling in the distance. Heading this way. Oh, and even the clouds. Wow. Oh my god, that's amazing! I've not seen that in the little tiny preliminary playthrough that I did. I've seen some rain and some storms and those kind of things. It's all very minor stuff, like just standing in a town and, you know, it would start to rain. Nothing like this. That is.
You okay there, Tilly?
I'm okay. Warm at least. Could do
And
with
then it
getting out of here for a
seemingly
bit.
has cleared up a little
sure.
bit.
Hey, Arthur.
Oh, there's that dot again. Wow, that was. It blew over. It's sort of out that way. You can see it moving back that way. That was that was awesome. And sometimes that is how a storm will be. All right, so it does say to pick up this bucket here. So let's go ahead and do that. And from the waypoint, it looks like it's close to Pearson's. There's my horse again.
No.
So I'm only going to do a couple more minutes on this episode. Like I said, just to kind of familiarize with the camp. So there's chores. I showed where you can kind of do some things there. I showed where Pearson has the donation capability, and he can also kind of give you crafting supplies. There's Mr. Strauss.
Hey, Herr Morgan.
Here is a place where Pearson once a day will cook up. You see the pot right there.
Glad to be off that mountain, Mr. Pearson.
He'll cook up a stew.
Yes, indeed.
That you
Lots to
can
do
eat.
now.
Yeah, for all of us.
And of course, the game, it's really important that you eat in the game so you can maintain. Let's actually go over that real quick. In the player stats here, one of the things that it actually has you maintain, of course, you have your cores, like we discussed earlier, the Deadeye core, the Stamina core, and the Health core. But you also have the General, which is not denoted by core, but it can affect how those cores lay out. And one of those factors is weight. So if you eat a lot of junk or just eat copious amounts of food, you can actually become overweight. If you eat very little, you can become underweight, and that can actually shift your stamina and health cores and their maximums. The temperature is fair because I'm just sort of a moderate area, but let's say I go back up into those mountains, I can get cold really quickly. And of course you can see the honor. And then we go, I think I'm gonna, again, there's lots of little background stuff all over the camp. Little letters. Like this is a dishonorable discharge, as you can see there, for Marion or Bill Williamson. So we can see that Bill Williamson was dishonorably discharged from the military, which those of you familiar with him from the first game, probably not surprised. It's a letter from Lenny's father. There's a little more backstory with Lenny later. And then I think this is another book we can read. There's whiskey bottles. And actually, yeah, I remember this from my first, like I said, I did do a small initial playthrough just to kind of get a feel for it. As you can see, it says item request in the corner there. Sometimes people will come up and ask you for things. Well, in this case, it seems that Hosea really enjoys mystery novels. And so it asks you to go get a mystery novel for Hosea. And we can greet. There's a letter in Dutch's. Let's take a look at that.
Hello, Arthur.
It's a poem from his, I guess we'll call her his girlfriend for the sake of narrative. And then, of course, Dutch has some books. Because, again, he was a learned man. He taught John and Arthur to read. I love that you have, whereas in previous games, in open world scenarios, you just kind of have to go through and read all these, what would typically be these kind of things. Pop-ups, there goes, read, scroll through. But in this, it also has the ability just to look at it and read it actually as a book. That is just really fun. And let's see, one more book over here. Is that readable?
Feels like we're back on track, more or less.
Yep, money and food. Now everyone needs to keep it coming.
For sure. Anyway, I won't disturb you.
Okay, Arthur.
All right, I'm gonna go over a couple really other quick things here, just logos and things that are on the screen, and then we'll call it.
That is what I like to see.
As you can see here, this is a contribution box. Let's see the money inside. You can actually go in and contribute money and items to the general welfare of the camp. So if you've got, like, say, all these pocket watches that I've pilfered off of the dead bodies, or belt buckles, or rings, or things of that nature, you can contribute those for a small amount of money. Or I can actually give some of my money. Now, the money at the top of the right there, the $17.55, that's the camp's funds, and the $196.06 is my funds. I'm not going to donate anything right now because it's just really early in the game and I don't have a lot of money. But we will get there eventually. Come over, that's Sadie again. I'm going to show you guys one last thing, and then that's going to be it. Again, I showed you the shaving kit, and I showed you, like, chores. But over here, there's this chest, and when you walk up to it, you can change clothing. This is yet another example of just how deep it can get with Rockstar. You can make outfits and carry them with you on your horse, and there's just a bunch of different options there. The good thing to do with your horse is if you are going to go around, like if you're going to be in the mountains or you're going to be in the valley where, you know, maybe it's warmer, or the plains where it's warmer, you can store up to 3 outfits so that you always have. So if I go back up into the mountains, I can put that on and not worry about suffering cold. I get back into the valley, I can put that on. And you can also store your custom outfit, which I'm going to show you guys how to make. So custom outfits are basically when you go through and customize everything. And when I say customize everything, you've got the different hats, and you can store the hats on the horse as well. So there'll be moments where you're riding along and somebody will shoot your hat off you and you may not recover it. Don't worry, you can absolutely recover it because it's stored on your horse. So for the sake of this one, let's say this one is his primary hat, so it'll always be on his horse. I like this one as well, so I'm going to store that one, and then I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to store a third one. This is plantation hat. For this, I'm just going to do a quick mock-up of an outfit. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so as you can see here, clearly I have decked myself out, and I've saved that outfit. So now when we go up to the outfit section, you have the saved custom outfit number 1. Sort of what that looks like, and you can see the talisman that I've put on my feet, which gives me a little more eagle eye. And Pearson just finished making the stew, so let's go have some stew, and then that's going to be it for us today, or at least for this episode. We'll have a quick bowl of stew. And I think we've pretty much covered everything that we can do in the camp right now. Of course, later there'll be a little more. But let's go ahead and let's eat. And then next time, I think we'll go out and we'll explore hunting a little bit and ride around. But for now, this has been Red Dead Redemption 2, and I want to just say thank you to you guys for tuning in. Hit like, hit subscribe. See you next time.